No, we never did the floor. Ted, they don't serve Pepsi. Will Cafe Creme do? It'll grow on you, believe me. Get rid of those red flannel shirts. We're going shopping at Galerie Lafayette, whose mom. I'll make a tailored man out of you. I'll make you wonder the way Cocteau found the time to wonder too. You'll be happy to learn I'm writing poetry differently these days, thanks to you. That'll make you wonder. I'm not even chasing tail. Ha! I knew I'd get a laugh out of you. I should have put page numbers on my reading list, but I didn't do that. Oh, here we are. 131. So this is a poem to a very dear friend of mine who also passed on. Took a walk, or was called upon. Nicholson, Modèle de la Haute Couture, 1933, 2021. We were old friends, and she was the first real fashion model I ever met. I was 18 to her 28, I think. It's called, anyway, I just read the title. Darling Ivy, what better way to commemorate your life than with a half-page obit in the New York Times, 5 columns deep? What better way to say goodbye, hello? What better way to visit you in the wilds of Staten Island in the afterglow, photographing you yet one more time in your flow-through flat, festooned with clinging drapery, with cheap prints hanging awkwardly and thoughtlessly, the laundry piling up, the mail unread, the bills aplenty. What better way than take you out to lunch, the way we did in Paris once, the Jardin du Luxembourg Cafe, to reminisce a while, forget the worst, celebrate the best in you, what little there is left, even when you don't recall one day the very next, who or whom, what the past must have been. What better way than promise of return awaits as your dream dreams you, those darknesses at noon, those tear sheets piling up, those photos haphazardly misplaced. What better way? But there is no better way. There is no end to reach the end. Resisting memory, resisting another full night's sleep, the dream disarrayed. What did we miss? What did we forget to say? The history's piling up until there's nothing more and nothing's lost. Anything amiss? Tell me more if there's still more time to reminisce. And yet there's more to come and more that's gone. Next week, a month from now, the years and years ahead, some decades since. This is a poem to myself. Usually do anyway. To Gerard Malanga, your birthday, March 20th, 2021. Hi, G. Oh, that's a mistake. Hey, G, it's me. The email said 6:30 in those wee hours. The email said you died a heart attack and then cut off. A mise en scene. Like a scissor simply snipped reality into the before and after. Except there is no after. There was no time to do all the things we said we'd do, like photographing you with your ailing kitty Sasha. And then Peter Beard died, but that was before. Somewhere else on a sunset shore, sitting cross-legged with all the news at your back. And then the email stopped. Funny how short-term memory comes and goes, and what remains in the vestiges of time keeps going further back until you're suddenly unreachable, until the shards of memory remain darker still. What's there to remember? Forget even. What's there searching for those sandy words now, until no words to fully bring you back? I'm at a blank. I'm walking along an unnamed pebbled beach where the desert meets the shoreline, for hundreds of miles in the golden dust, until these words are also pebbles, until life's a first draft and a second and a stream of consciousness, a computer search. Am I making any sense? Am I? I don't dare go out in search of you. I'm already at a loss to bring you back. I'm confusing dusk with dawn, those darknesses at noon. I had a dream as real as if it were yesterday, and only yesterday. So this is a poem to my father. It's called To Jerry, my dad, nearly 40 years after. His real name was Gerardo. We called him Jerry. There's this lonely sparrow, almost colorless, with whom I share my croissant most mornings. I call him Jerry after you. He hops around. You shared something of your silences with me on those outings, those uncanny moments stretching way past lunch, maybe more. I've lost count. When you let me off to my imaginings playing make-believe, what becomes the other mumbling to your ghosts? A book of mine on which you off affixed random postage stamps. You were never confused nor confined. I can vouch for that. Nor was I sent away like it's told in storybooks. You'd have none of that, and yet a moment wasn't wasted when you left one morning so abruptly, never to return, which led to your rediscovery, to your joy, which you kept hidden. When finally we shook hands, you seemed to shrink, or had I grown? There is no date to mark your birthday, or at any other time. The D train rocking rides, the walks along Allen Street, or at noonday Arthur Ave, but those moments pass, as do your silent smiles, your unwritten episodes. I always thought Clark Gable was a really good actor until I saw him in The Misfits. And then I realized that he was absolutely incredible. And so, this is a poem called Clark Gable. Did you ever see him in that movie?
Yes. Yeah.
This is his last movie.
Amazing.
And he was absolutely stupendous. Excuse me. It's abundantly clear, Clark, or is it Gay Langland, that you were at your very best, that you outshined yourself in all your naturalness, in the character that doomed you nonetheless, the enormity of stepping out of your cinematic self into the world of varied realities, proving the gentleness of soul, proving that you were you, finally. That too, finally, is where you're at when it comes to the end of your roping, lassoing those last remaining humble herds, breaking free with the dust and sagebrush flying up, and that one stiff drink afterwards. What was it? A whiskey straight up? You are the Minch among your sidekicks. No room for the supercilious. You choose your words forthrightly. You walk, you look with the eyes of love, with the eyes of the hawk, the eagle, and the dove. And you reflect upon the notion that all good comes from the goodness of the soul. I wish there were a way to say, without saying much, the shared enthusiasms, a game of pool, a good pulp fiction, casting the rod, come what may, gone, fishing. This is called Sylvia, Poet. Sylvia, I'm reminded of your birth year by Linda Caston's obit, a fellow Bronxite, how you lost out to her in the Mademoiselle Summer Intern competition in the mid-1950s. I'd have to research the exact date, but I don't want to lose my stream of consciousness, which amounts to where I'm being taken. Turns out you were my elder by 11 years, and there's no chance our paths would ever cross. You were of an age of bobby socks that would take much to flirt with you. Everything so prim and proper, but not in any poem of yours I could recall. I'm not your prim and proper. I'm a wise guy. I like to dance. I remained in the Bronx, then roamed NYC's art scene, while you moved to Cambridge. Already the stirrings of your histories unfolding, unbeknownst to me. Funny how we missed out with one another. By the time I reached London, you already turned on the gas. How ignoble in an act of quiet separation. Your next door neighbor was away that weekend. Your timing was way, way off. Had we gone on after an unhurried coffee date in Mayfair, history would have unfolded quite differently. Well, the bell jar would not exist, for instance, and your life would take a different turn. You'd be just Sylvia Plath, a name unrecognizable for the scandals, the speculations that ensued. At the very least, you'd be alive. Your triumphs, your desperations, as quiet as they'd always been. A life of poesy conjured, as it were, in your everlasting sleep. This is called Sharon Tate, movie star, 1943, but I didn't include the death date because I wanted to keep her alive a bit longer. So that's a blank there. Hi, Sharon. You've never taken a bad picture, have you? I I have an excellent eye for the eternal. I've turned corners, I've gone to sleep and woken up in different worlds and gone to sleep again and not returned, and nothing's changed, and still I can't seem to find you. How can that be? 1943? The one year we have in common. And is that the joke? To borrow a favorite quote of Cocteau's, astonish me! And you've astonished me in retrospect. I guess you could say we follow different time zones. You're as clear as a sunset walk through a Hamptons beach, or any beach. Have your pick. The twilight's yet upon us. It's been 50 some odd years. Imagine, those would have been your years. If I'd asked for help along, you surely would. Run and said it's in your nature. Can you reach back at as far as 6 or 8? A trip to the moon? A trip to the zoo? A money ride? A pony ride? A carousel? How to forget? Did you wish upon a star and close your eyes? Did you have a pet? What's its name? Where did you grow up? Or back then had you? Is there a part of you yet catching up with you? Make me laugh, crack me a joke. Be as goofy in the movies. I know you can do it, but not given the chance. That's the secret you've been holding back. You've kept hidden a holy secret place for Cheshire cats. Save it for when we're sipping straws at cafe floor, our quick glances and smiling eyes. Oh, Marie Macon was a mentor of mine. She was a painter and a filmmaker, quite extraordinary. And she wanted to adopt me, but she couldn't by law because my mother was still alive. But she adopted me anyway. Marie Macon, painter, filmmaker, and mentor, 1909, 1970. Dearest Marie, there are no endings between us as far as I can tell. Your spirit lurks nonetheless. Martina and I spent over an hour looking for your gravestone, so at least I could commiserate with you silently. It was a hazy Sunday, the sky an autumn white. Traffic sounds whizzing by, whizzing off in the unseen distance. Can't remember now what I wanted to convey. The rooftop garden you pruned occasionally, where once Willard photographed me with my brownie in a state of laughter at 17 is what I remember most. With the classic lower Manhattan skyline of a yesteryear and those lonely rides back to the Bronx, scratching notes along the way. Grace to be born and live as variously as possible. I've done that too, filled with joys every time a poem emerged and the tree of life spreading its canopy of leaves. You had faith in me because of your unstinting love. Was I the unmissing child you never had or may have lost in childbirth? But I never brought it up. I was born 1943, seemingly so distant now. I have no voices in my head. I can't remember any shortcomings except for those damn unorthopedic high shoes I'd worn for 1 year straight. When I was 4, just as well. I paid for nothing in my life, which you admired most in me. Just a stream of consciousness for the everyday. a dear friend of mine, named Billy Kluver, who was a scientist at Bell Lab Laboratories in New Jersey, and collaborated with artists like Robert Rauschenberg and Andy Warhol in the art projects that they had. And Billy was responsible for the balloons that were supposed to be inflated to be floated in the sky. And the title here is Billy Kluver, Order des Chevaliers des Arts and Letters. And that's the one thing we have in common. I became one a year ago, and he got his, I forget what year. Anyway, thank you. When I got mine, I cried. He was born in 1927, and he died in 2004. And he was just a dear of a guy. Dear Billy, I know enough to sit down and talk with you, whether it be Jasper or some sort of scientific view, yet unexplained, or for the poetry connecting us. The last time we spoke was early 1999, or was it 2000? That's if I can put my hands on that contact sheet when I photographed you at the cooler. The folder's dated. That much is certain, like so much of life's ephemera. But what was spoken now escapes me after all these years. Your marriage in the Bronx? I'm certain there's going to be a poem somewhere in all this. That's if the words cohere, show their mysterioso and significance, an eternity of dreams, the what-ifs. That's if you're still listening through my metaphors of mortality. There must be some gizmo in your bag of tricks to make those thoughts leap into words and then to poetry. Must be a way to send them. I know you know, don't you think? And then the camera clicked. I remember the contact sheet vividly, but how and when time tricks the expanse of winter, those words frozen, some far and few, the fewer pictures that reveal much and yet so little, like what brought you here in the demi-dark of night, and how I almost missed you, the conversation that ensued, your kindnesses, your happy look when we crossed paths. You were a kind man. Did anyone ever tell you this? This much is proven true. This poetry shows as it turns over with these metaphors of life, the twinkle in your eyes, the so-called history shared, fall away behind you. This next poem is to Louise Glick, poet, 1943, 2023. Dear Louise, it's been nearly 50 years, wouldn't you say? And then we parted our separate ways with a poem, though I don't presume you'd written any. The mauves and grays of autumn that you love so well, half hidden for the hate you next saw now. You saw in every leaf that turns and falls softly underfoot, its color brightest momentarily this time of year, and then the light bleakness, and then the early twilight settles in with its promise of nothing. Daydreams that keep you chasing shadows in the dark. After nearly 50 years, am I making any sense? Those colors growing dim and dimmer still. Those promises broken or on the mend. What to make of all this in the end? There is no end, no beginning nor any of those brief interludes. Neither of us ever spoke of as your hate grew. I have no hate, only a distant love for you. There are awakenings of dead leaves, live legacies, don't you see? Don't you see yourself awake those autumn mornings? The few birds left behind, confused. What to do? The years are full of hopes. I can hear you say, the garden's empty of those gardenias, the oaks naked of their canopy of leaves. Yet the times brought your picture back to life and into focus, capturing that moment where you flexed your pelvis just so, your hands placed evenly at the waistline. You thought, how clever. But the camera caught just that clever moment. I caught it too. This is from the last section in the book called Odie is Being Called Back. And there's an epigraph that goes with this section. From Charles Darwin. The love of all living creatures is the most noble attribute of man. So this is one of the poems I wrote for Odie. It's called Odie, Odie. Dearest Odie buddy, it's the first time in a long, long while I've slept in this morning. In the end, there is no end. Cal once told me over lunch that it still feels like you're present still, waiting in attention, your classic stand-up repose to be fed, waiting, waiting, waiting. But it's I waiting for your iridescent presence, now forever past. But for the moment I reject this reality. The view has changed irrevocably. Life's impossible wishes remain the same. I suddenly and seamlessly seem to forget. Odie, help me to forget. All the silence, even calling out your name. It's not hard to break the old habits, but to be reminded of them will in time fade too. No more kissing on the head, the back of your head, your favorite spot. Not even a confessional poet will know what to do with this. What I'm up against as the day wanes, a different light is settling in. It's the first day I'm wearing one of my greatcoats, the one made in Hungary, to ward off the unexpected cold. Save to Giorgio Sant'Angelo for sunnier skies. I've seen the morning light through what I consider limitless. The real and beautiful you, one thing's certain, there will be no more photographs. I claim nothing of those impromptu poses that you've made. They remain proof of your winning insights filled with happiness. Your immortality surrounded by the light changing as you change, challenging me at every click, how I've seen you through the lens. It's the spring of 2022. I'm back there suddenly. You're not quite ready giving up. We still have a ways to go. Those dishes of fresh food, refilling the water bowl, scooping out the clumps, sponging those hemorrhoidal drips before they reach the floor. We stay up late no matter how dark it gets. We have our strengths in perfect harmony. Sometimes sleeping in is also life. You tell me in your own silent way, as you've done so many times, it's time to part in the letting go. Your cross-eyed perfect vision. those silences we've shared and share some more. This is the last poem in my previous book. It's called April 11th, 2019. There's a line, it's called House It, House It. And translated, it's a greeting or a hello or goodbye in Namibian and South African language. April 11th would have been the first anniversary if there was one. The words seem forever out of reach. Like, who cares? Nothing happened. The early afternoon was more illuminating. The sky a grayless gray. Once you cleared the hill in Central Park, all was gone. Nothing to describe or the absurdity of life or NYC from an unexpected late snow that doesn't seem to want to stick. I had to look closer to remember. The trees had not yet leafed, but the curbs were swept. At that moment, I awoke to a blinding sunlight along a coast that stretched in both directions all at once. The hundreds of miles of deserted, uncluttered beach. And then off in the distance, I saw a silhouette of a figure moving slowly in my direction. And at first, I couldn't make out who it was. And then I saw. I could not believe my eyes. I cried out to you above the din. How's it? How's it? There was no response. You kept on walking, almost struggling in the dune. And then you finally came close enough and stopped. Is that you? I couldn't make out what you were saying. The wind was deafening, stifling, and yet everything around me felt comfortable, peaceful. Even the waves had lost their sound. You turned your face sideways to the backlit glare, falling on your face, the bridge of your nose. You clenched your fist as if biting into it and holding back the tears. It was an old photograph, a snapshot, really. We stood quietly for a few moments, as meaningless as a passing dream. You took the pose and stepped into it. I heard you stirring. I heard the waves waking in the distance, a lulling sound, and then nothing. Nothing. There was nothing. That's what I'm here for. Questions and answers. Anyone has a question? Yes.
How long of a period spanned between the writing of all those poems?
Well, for this particular book, which I had to include the previous book also, because they were the two sources for all the poems. And so the previous book came out in 2019, and this one came out in 2024. And but I was writing every day. It was just crazy. I could wake up in the morning and I'd be writing, you know. Now I've only written 2 poems this year. It's really very strange. I'm not worried about that, though. It's the way it is. but that's the time limit in terms of, I was on a good run. But it's
Do you save everything?
well, as a collector, I kind of save a lot of stuff.
I mean your writing,
Oh.
everything, even the garbage. Do you save it all?
No, I don't think I do. I probably have a phone that puts all that, away. So.
How do you know it's garbage?
That's an easy question. I can answer that. You feel it in your gut. And there were a lot of poems that went into these last two books that were really good, but there was something that didn't click with how they all work together. And so maybe they'll amount to another book at some point, or maybe not a book at all. But that's the luck of the draw with poetry.
So when is your autobiography coming out?
I wrote one, and the rules have changed. The rules of the game have changed in the publishing world. Now you can't submit a manuscript to an editor. You have to go through an agent. You have to go through an agent. If you don't, you will end up in the trash basket. So I went through that situation for a year, and then I said, hey, I got better things to think about to worry about something like that, So I just went on with my life. So to answer your question, I have a manuscript. It's ready to go, but it's not going anywhere.
What about photography? Are you still taking photos?
Not as much as I would love to, but I am still taking photographs. And I did a photo exhibit in Catskill a year ago at what was the name of it?
B.D. Powers' house. B.D. Powers' mansion.
B.D. Powers' house, yes. And I'm thinking about another exhibit somewhere, because I have amassed quite a bit of work in terms of photography. And it's discovered now, with so much time has passed in my photography, that I could have a bigger view of what all that means in terms of the work that I've accumulated. And so the pictures are telling me things that I didn't see early on. So it's quite a fascinating experience, actually. Yes?
Do you have a sort of an overall concept or some when you're about a group of poems that you wind up writing? Is there an overall concept over a period of time? And is there a time when you're just gestating that before you start actually writing about it? That's two questions.
And I get those two questions in the answer. One answer, actually. I don't have any idea whatsoever when I embark on a moment where all of a sudden I'm writing. It just comes to me, and that's the joy of it, actually. Sometimes the work is okay, and sometimes it's very exciting for me, but I have no plan that, even where I write, I could be writing on a bus or at a cafe or something. I don't have a writing room or anything like that. It just happens as I go on with my life.
Okay, that's very interesting. Can I follow up on that?
Yes, absolutely.
Would there be some stage of your life or something you're doing, some particular interests or that you're following in life, which would come into your poetry at that time? I mean, I'm just kind of trying to get a feel of your process, mentally and physically.
It's hard to pin down what my process is. I probably answer that in the poems themselves. I don't know it because I don't know what my process is.
Okay, that's very interesting.
To quote Don Juan from the Castaneda books, follow your nature to be happy.
Well said.
Yes.
Gerard, it's not a question. It's an acknowledgement of how incredible it is that you're here with us in this beautiful bookstore where we had a gallery, and I had a long run with Warhol, as well as Carol over here, who we worked together in the 80s selling all the Warhols and things like that. And we just want to thank you for being at the very inception of all of that. So just thank you, and we purchased your book, and I hope everybody does, and we're excited to read it.
Thank you very much.